Hi folks, welcome to my humble homestead in the forest. And today, on this rainy day, I'm going to be making my tomato sauce. I say tomato sauce, but the process is basically the same if you're going to be also making tomato paste. If you use Roma tomatoes, as opposed to the regular, the round, different varieties of round ones. The Roma tomatoes in particular, or maybe even specifically, are the ones that are used for paste. If you look at the picture of the paste cans, depending on the size, you'll probably see a picture of a Roma tomato on the front of it, as opposed to any other kind of round or different color or shape tomatoes. It's a very simple one. So if you're making paste, you have to just reduce it and boil it down some more. It just gets thicker and thicker and slow. Very simple, 3 ingredient, I would say. Coconut oil. I never fry with olive oil because it changes the chemical makeup of it, or the structure of it. So coconut oil. You can use lard, like your bacon fat, if you're keeping that. Maybe even butter, but really you don't need a lot. The only part that I use the oil, or in this case coconut oil, for is when I fry my onions or garlic before I put the tomatoes in. Because once you put the tomatoes in, so much juice comes out of it that it's not like you're going to be frying or deep frying or any kind of frying your tomatoes anyway. So you don't need hardly any oil. So with that said, I'm going to change the angle of the camera so that you can see me chopping and cutting my tomatoes, and then I'll take you to our wood-fired cook stove just to see how it's really very simple. I mean, if you can, at this time of year, probably even where you are, you can probably get bushels, either those rectangular bushels, oval, whatever bushels, or the big bushels of tomatoes. And if you can get Roma, even better if you're making tomato sauce. And make your own if you have the time, that is. And this is something that we do as if you're a homesteader, or in particular if you're off-grid homesteader. And then canning these things is probably more time consuming, or I don't want to say difficult, than just cooking your tomatoes on slow. And the cook stove is on anyway because it's fall. And incidentally, when all of these here, there's about maybe 100 of them. When they were picked, they were probably either green, like a little bit of hint of orange, or orange. And we picked them because at this time of year, if we were to leave them out on the vine outside, even as green, they would not have gone on to change color even one shade closer to red, because it's too cold. The frost and everything would have killed them off, and they would have ended up in the compost. So by bringing them in, and it's probably November 20-something, 21st, 22nd, and October 22nd, and these we probably harvested these maybe 20 days ago, and just imagine how green they were then. And so you can see some of them have gone on to become really red, and some of them were probably not going to turn even to this shade. So they'll probably end up going into compost if they don't change their color. All right, stay tuned. Roll up my sleeves. So, folks, for this amount of tomatoes, I'm using about this size of onion. You can use about 2 cloves of garlic. This is just our own because we grow our own. But you can use your garlic now you can use your garlic after. When I say after, I mean after, when you're ready to use your sauce for your spaghetti sauce, tomato soup, or pizza, that kind of thing, or lasagna. Or you can use your garlic now and then, if you really like garlic. I'm going to use my garlic later. So for now, I'm just using chopping an onion into the pot with coconut oil, and shortly after they're gone in, once I've chopped these, really, this is all can be chopped really fine. You don't have to fuss with it too much, because at the end of it, I'm going to be blending with a those hand blenders. And the reason for that is that some people don't like to see or taste or feel the tomato skin, when they're eating their tomato sauce. Some people like their tomato sauce chunky. I like my tomato sauce thick. So I'm not going to remove the skin once it's cooked. What I'm going to do when I blend it, that skin just becomes part of the sauce, and it helps thicken the sauce. And the skin is good for you, so it's not a problem. So I'm gonna now go and put the oil in, and then put the onions in. You'll probably be able to hear it. Okay, so the onions are in. I don't know if you can hear them over the sound of the rain hitting the rooftop. I have my compost bin right here next to me. Compost bucket. And as I cut these, or chop them or whatever, the parts that I don't want, any parts that have gone bad, you see, as you know, if you can see, I'm chopping them rough and big. Also, as you know, I do a lot of zero waste videos, and the reason for that is that I really don't like wasting things. And the reason why, in case you're wondering why I'm chopping tomatoes on a plate and not on a, like the same wooden board that I chop my onions on, was because even though Roma tomatoes are fairly dry, they're not juicy like these other tomatoes would be. I do have some of these too. I don't want to waste that juice. If you have a wooden board that you cut on anything juicy, some of the juice just slides around on that board, and then eventually goes on your tabletop or whatever, anywhere but where you want it. And I really want to savor this juice. There's nothing wrong with it, and I want it. And so what I do with it, instead of using a cutting board, I use a plate and catch all that juice that goes back into the pot for, depending on whatever I use it for. This one's not quite ready. I'm just going to wait a bit on this one just to see how, or if it gets any more ripe. So let's go put this in the pot. You know what? Maybe what I'll do, I'll take you over there and set it up, and you can hear it sizzle when it goes in the pot. And the rest of it I'll do. You don't need to see me do that. So folks, as you can see, I underestimated just how much I had in ways of tomatoes to make sauce and paste with. Because in the summertime I was making them in smaller batches, I guess. And so I went and got a second pot, and I filled that one. Now I've gone and found a third biggest pot, and that would do it. But just to show you that, yeah, that's life. I'll add a bit more fire. But this needs to be cooking and reducing on slow. So, no need to worry about, and they will reduce. You're probably thinking, well, don't worry, man, they'll reduce. You won't need this third part. But the thing is, I like it to, the more spread they are, the more it'll evaporate. Because I don't want it to cook on, I don't want it to boil hard. I want it to just simmer. Okay, I'll come back and show you more. Oh, folks, that's the last of it. Oh, I missed something there. The end of that one. Get rid of that. But this will give us 3 nice sized jars, if not 4. I'll come back later and show you what it looks like once it's blended. Well, folks, as you can see, they're simmering away nicely, not boiling like a rolling boil, but simmering nicely. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend them with, this is the kind of blender that I was telling you about, right? And once I blend them, they will still continue to boil down and reduce for, I don't know, on very low for maybe another hour or so. And then I will put them in jars. And now if you want to can them, you can. If you want to freeze them, you can. If you have a freezer, I like that idea better. So you portion it to the sizes that you like. You put it in yogurt containers of different sizes, if you have bigger ones or smaller ones, according to the size of your family or the meal, or you know, the number of people or the type of meal. I mean, is it a side dish? Is it the main dish? You know. Okay, I'm going to blend them, and then I'll show you what they look like. So, folks, here we are. If you could smell this sauce now, boy, like Grandma used to make. This Sicily. So this is thick enough for me, for us. I don't know if you can see consistency of the shade of the, I'm casting a shade. Let me see if this one's better. But if you go on, yeah, see? If you go on reducing this, and then you'll get paste. But this is good enough for what we need it for. And seeing as the stove is going, we're also making some, let me get this out of the way, blackberry jam from our own blackberry patches. That'll be ready, I don't know when, but you know, 50, 75 years ago, before there was pectin, while blackcurrant doesn't need pectin, blackberry does. Many other berries do. So what you could do is to use apples or pears, and they will do the same work as pectin would. All right, talk to you later.